Hello friends, I am Sandhya Lanke, faculty Shri Jain Vidya Prasarak Mandal, Rasikla M. Dhariwal, College of Pharmacy, Pune. Today we will discuss about the new topic suspension, which is mentioned in the syllabus of second year diploma in pharmacy for the subject pharmaceutics 2. Let us discuss the learning outcomes. After watching this video, you will be able to define suspensions. You will be able to list ideal properties of suspensions. You will be able to classify suspensions and you will be able to compare flocculated and deflocculated suspensions. So, let us discuss one by one all the points. Pharmaceutical suspensions, these are the biphasic liquid dosage form of medicament in which the finely divided solid particles ranging from 0.5 to 5 micron are dispersed in a suitable vehicle. So here the pharmaceutical suspensions, these are the biphasic liquid dosage form where it consists of two phases in which internal phase is dispersed uniformly throughout the external phase. Friends, suspension is a heterogeneous system. The internal phase consists of particulate matter, that is insoluble solid particles, but dispersed uniformly throughout the continuous phase, and for this we are requiring either a single or combination of suspending agent. The external phase is generally some aqueous medium. For example, either it may be an organic or oily type of liquid used as an external phase. Blood is an example of suspension. Suspensions are useful for administering insoluble or poorly soluble drugs, or in some situations when the presence of finely divided form of the material in gastrointestinal tract is required. For example, adsorbents like kaolin, which are used in dysentery and diarrhea. In some cases, antacid preparations are also required. So such type of preparations are formulated in the form of suspensions. The thing to be remembered in the definition is you have to mention that these are biphasic liquid dosage form. The solid particles size range from 0.5 to 5 micron and they have to be dispersed in suitable vehicle. Now, here are some examples of pharmaceutical suspensions which are mainly used for oral administration, like antacid oral preparation, antibacterial oral suspension, dry powder for oral suspension, analgesic, anthelmintic, anticonvulsant, antifungal. Depending upon the type of category of drug, various kind of suspensions are available in the market. Now let us discuss the ideal qualities of suspension. The qualities of suspension, the first one is it should settle slowly. As we have discussed that suspensions are biphasic liquid dosage form. So after shaking the container, the suspension should settle slowly. Why? Because the insoluble solid particles should remain suspended in the dispersed medium for sufficient period of time. Till that time we can withdraw the dose of drug. That's why they should settle slowly. It should be readily dispersed on gentle shaking of the container. It should pour readily and evenly from its container. Then it should be chemically inert. The suspended particle should not form a cake. So, as the drug is insoluble in nature, there are chances of formation of the cake if the container will remain undisturbed for longer duration of time. So, ideally, the suspension should not form a cake. It should be free from large particles which spoil its appearance and give gritty taste to oral suspension, and also cause irritation to sensitive tissues when applied externally. So, the particle size of suspension, it should be somewhat small. Either it should range in the 0.5 to 5 micron size. Otherwise, if we are going to administer it orally, that will affect the taste of preparation. If it is used for cosmetic purpose, it may spoil the appearance, and if it is used for topical application, it may cause irritation during application. So these are some ideal qualities of suspensions. Now let us discuss the advantages of suspension. Suspensions are mainly used for masking the taste of the bitter tasting drugs. Here one example can be given. The drugs which are having unpleasant taste in the soluble form, like chloramphenicol, which is having bitter taste in the soluble form. So when we are giving chloramphenicol in its palmitate salt form, which is insoluble in nature, at that time the bitter taste of the drug can be masked. Then the choice of solvent is there. As we have discussed, as these are the biphasic liquid dosage form, so here the disperse medium can be, variety of vehicles can be used here. So the choice variety of solvents are available as a dispersion medium. Prolonged action dosage form, we can increase or we can sustain the action of different kind of drugs. We can control the action of drugs in the form of suspensions. So for example, protamine zinc insulin suspension. Then bioavailability, when we will compare the bioavailability of suspensions with that of other dosage form, at that time suspensions have more bioavailability than other oral solid dosage form. The bioavailability can be in the order of, first of all, solution having maximum bioavailability, then suspension, then capsules, then compressed tablets, and then coated tablets. So as compared to other solid dosage forms, suspensions have higher rate of bioavailability. Then formulated for topical application, suspensions can be formulated in various forms. One of them is, these can be used for topical application also. Then so as to increase the onset of action of drug, suspensions can be formulated in the form of parenterals also. Whenever an emergency is there, we can formulate that insoluble solid particles in the form of suspension. So these are various advantages. Then suspension can improve chemical stability of some drugs. For example, procaine penicillin G, when the patient has difficulty in swallowing solid dosage form and it is required to be the oral liquid dosage form, at that time we can give that particular drug in the form of suspension. Then the faster rate of dissolution and oral absorption than as compared to the other solid dosage form. So these are some advantages of suspension. Now the disadvantages of suspension. Physical stability of suspension may cause some of the problem, like sedimentation and compaction or formation of hard cake if it is remain undisturbed for longer duration of time. Then it require shaking before use, as it is a biphasic liquid dosage form and the particles are in the insoluble state. Every time for getting uniform dose of drug, it requires shaking before use. Accuracy of dose is less reliable. Obviously, if shaking is required every time, so obviously it will affect the dose accuracy. If without shaking we will administer the suspension, there are less chances of dose accuracy. Then storage of suspensions leads to change in the dispersion. When we will keep suspension for long time without disturbing it, at that time it will leads to change in its dispersion state. That means it may leads to formation of sediments or it may leads to formation of compact cake. Bulky to carry, so as it is a liquid dosage form, these are bulky, that's why sufficient care must be taken during handling and transport. Then its cost, as Various steps are involved during the formulation, so the cost of suspension is more than that of solution. It is difficult to formulate, and because of its various steps and the stability problem, suspensions are difficult to formulate. So this is about disadvantages of suspension. Next we will discuss is classification of suspension. Now suspensions are classified according to four different ways. The first one is according to the particle size of dispersed phase. Suspensions can be divided into two: coarse suspension and colloidal suspension. Dispersed phase means the phase in which the insoluble solid particles are present. So here coarse suspensions are those where the particles with mean diameter greater than 1 micrometer are present, and colloidal suspensions are those which are having particles with a mean diameter of less than 1 micrometer. So these two, coarse suspension and colloidal suspensions, are the classes of suspension according to particle size of dispersed phase. Then the second one is based upon the proportion of solid particles. Suspensions are categorized into two: dilute suspension and concentrated suspension. Dilute suspensions, where the concentration of solid particles ranges from 2 to 10% weight by volume of solid. That means 2 to 10 gram of solids are present per 100 ml. For example, cortisone acetate, prednisolone acetate. Concentrated suspensions, these are the suspensions where the proportion of solid particles is 50% weight by volume. For example, zinc oxide suspensions. So this is the classification based upon proportion of solid particles. Then is based upon the general class. In board exam, this particular classification is expected to be right as the answer of define and classify suspensions. So according to the general class, suspensions are categorized as four different classes. Oral suspensions. Oral suspensions means what? They contain flavoring agent and sweetening agent to mask the bitter taste of drug, and these are made palatable by using various derivatives of that particular drug. For example, paracetamol suspension. Then the second one is externally applied suspension, or we can say topically applied suspensions. These are mainly used for external use. They contain very small particles so as to avoid the grittiness. For example, lotions which are meant for application on broken or inflamed skin, and they should be free from harmful microorganisms. Example of topical suspensions is various type of lotions. For example, calamine lotion. The third category is parenteral suspension. Parenteral suspensions, these are administered by parenteral route. These suspensions should be sterilized as they have to be injected directly into the systemic circulation. The particle size of the drug should be such that it can be easily passed through the needle of the syringe. That means the parenteral suspension should have good syringeability as well as good injectability. Then the concentration of solid particles in parenteral suspension, it should be between 0.5 to 30%. The viscosity of parenteral suspensions should not interfere with its flow through the syringe and needle. So in case of parenteral suspension, we have to concentrate for its injectability as well as syringeability. For example, insulin zinc suspension. And the last class is ophthalmic suspensions. Ophthalmic suspensions, these are used for ophthalmic type of disease conditions. These are prepared only in those cases when the drug is insoluble in the desired solvent or when it is unstable in the liquid form. The particle size of eye suspension should be fine enough so that it should not cause any irritation to the eye. And one thing, it should be sterilized as well as isotonic and should have desired consistency as we are going to instill it into the ophthalmic cavity. For example, prednisolone acetate suspension or chloramphenicol suspension. So this is the third class, which is based upon the general category, and the fourth one is based upon electrokinetic nature of solid particles. So according to this, two types of suspensions are there: flocculated suspension and deflocculated suspension. Flocculated suspensions, in which the dispersed phase particles are in the form of network like structure, and deflocculated suspensions, they are consist of discrete particles where the individual particle exists as a separate entity. So this is all about classification of suspension. Friends, in board exams again so many times the question is asked upon flocculated and deflocculated system. So we'll just have a look on this. Flocculated suspensions. In flocculated system, the individual particles are contact with each other to form loose aggregate, and they are going to create a network like structure. Here weak van der Waals forces of attraction are going to be formed here, and that's why the particles are going to be formed the loose aggregate and a network like structure, which can be easily breakable upon shaking the container. Hence, flocculated suspension sediment more rapidly and the rate of sedimentation is high. Then the sedimentation depends not only on the size of floccules, but it also depends on the porosity of flocks. In case of deflocculated type of suspensions, the individual particles are exist as separate entity, separate moiety, and that's why they are going to form the coalescence of the particle. Because of this, rate of sedimentation is low. In deflocculated suspension, the larger particles settle fast and smaller remain in supernatant liquid. So, supernatant liquid appears cloudy. We'll just discuss through this diagram. Whatever we have discussed is presented in this diagram, flocculated and deflocculated system. Whenever the time of standing is going on increasing, there is formation of the sediment. So in case of flocculated system, upon longer period of time, only the sediment is formed, which can be easily dispersible. But in case of deflocculated suspension, there is formation of hard cake. Again, in board exam, the frequently asked question is the difference between flocculated and deflocculated suspensions. So here the points are given. In case of flocculated suspension, particle form loose aggregate and form network like structure, whereas in case of non-flocculated suspension, particle exist as separate entity. In case of flocculated suspension, the rate of sedimentation is high, while in case of non-flocculated suspension, the rate of sedimentation is slow. In flocculated suspension, sediment is rapidly formed and sediment is easy to redisperse, while in case of deflocculated suspension, sediment is slowly formed and it is difficult to redisperse. Then sediment form is loosely packed and does not form a hard cake in flocculated suspension, while in deflocculated suspension the sediment is very closely packed and hard cake is formed. The supernatant liquid, that means liquid present over the sediment, is clear in case of flocculated suspension, and in case of deflocculated suspension, because of uneven particle size, the supernatant liquid is cloudy, it is not clear. The floccule sticks to the side of the bottle in case of flocculated suspension, and in case of non-flocculated suspensions, the floccules do not stick to the sides of bottle. And last one is, in case of flocculated suspension, the suspension is not pleasant in appearance, but in case of deflocculated suspension, these are pleasant in appearance. So these are few differences which are very important exam point of view. So this is about whatever the learning outcomes we have discussed in the introductory slide. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any query, please post it in the comment box.